Aces, the team at RIXX have done it again, and they have something very cheeky for you all. It's end of season sale, and that means massive discounts. In fact, it's 50% off site-wide and an additional 5% if you use the discount code ACES at checkout. We're talking massive discounts, free gifts with purchases and more. You just don't want to miss out. With our 90-day free returns and exchanges, you just can't go wrong. Get online now at rixeyewear.com.au. This sale won't last, so don't miss out. We've got some kings in the building. We love our American sport, and we've managed to get a few more in the building. We have Michael Dickson from the Seattle Seahawks and Ryan Bujcevski, who is Dicko's cousin, or Dicko's your cousin as well. But boys, great to have you in the building.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Little change up. We were here with Toddy Gurley next door, so we thought we'd. I didn't realise you guys had this other studio, so we've just quickly decked this one out. How are the chairs? They look very comfy.
They got a bit of a swivel as well, so it's nice.
Got to have the big dogs on the grouse seats. I got the. I mean, this is very comfy as well. But I've got to put myself in the corner. Now let's just start off. Obviously, we're here talking about pro punting. You're still playing, and you've had a career as well in the college. And fun fact, your cousin. So it's pretty cool that you've also played for the same college. We'll get right into it. But I want to start with you, Dicko. Obviously at the Hawks, Seattle there, and you've just lost your QB and DK Metcalf as of this morning, as we record this podcast, is off to Pittsburgh Steelers for about 150 mil. So. What's it like when you're just in Sydney in off season and you open your ESPN app up, or you see your phone on Instagram and you see these news?
It's great because of the time difference. You always end up like waking up to it. So every time you wake up, like you check your phone and you're like, oh no, something else. Like we lost Lockett, who's just like Seahawk legend. I wonder if they'll retire his jersey. I don't know, but he's like up there with underrated receiver in the league. And then, then the DK requesting a trade, and then Gino, the same kind of fate happens, reunited with Pete. But I mean, it's just part of the business, I guess. It's going to be sad to not have them around anymore, but it's I don't know, you kind of get used to it now. It's sad, but you can't like dwell on it.
How many years you been professional now?
I've played 7. I'm going into my 8th.
Yeah, nice. So it's just you're getting – so every time you finish your last game for the season, is it kind of sad because you know that room's not going to be – you know that something's going to happen?
Yeah, like you have seasons where you're like, man, I love this team. Like you have seasons where you really, really love the guys and you're like, I know their time's coming, whether it's like cap space or, their end of their contract, and you can tell that it might be the end for some guys. But yeah, it's always sad, especially like with the playoffs, because you don't know, like if you're in the playoffs, you don't know when the last game is going to be. So it's like quite abrupt. But yeah, it's just, you kind of get used to it. Like you lose some of your best mates, like each year to year, and you find a new best mate and you kind of just deal with it that way.
It's the nature of the beast.
Yeah, it is.
What about Pete Carroll? What was your relationship like with him? Because obviously now that he's at Vegas, he's poached the quarterback, and I'd imagine he'd be going after plenty of players. And you're one of the best punters in the league. Have you had a text message from Pete?
Nah, I don't know if that's allowed to like reach out and be like, "Hey, pick me up." But no, I love Pete. Pete has honestly, like when I came in as a rookie, I came from Texas, which the program was completely different. It was. Once Herman came in, it was just like, have you seen the Urban Meyer Swamp documentary on Netflix? That was Herman at Texas. It was exact carbon copy of that. So it was pretty intense, pretty uptight. And then I get into the Seahawks, which is known for being the complete opposite. So it took a bit of adjusting, but like his wisdom, like every night before a game, just talking to the whole team, you would pick up so many things that you could relate to your life and your game. So, just being able to absorb that for the 6 years that I had with him was like helped me with everything in my life, and definitely helped me with my punting. So yeah.
Does he make you feel more relaxed? Is that what you're saying? Like it's not so tense?
Yeah, I mean every team meeting was a joke, like not a joke. There was wisdom in it, but like it was so lighthearted. He would come down and play pranks, and like guys would be in shoot-offs against each other. There was a basketball hoop at the front of the stage where he'd be presenting, and he would put up practice film, and his whole purpose was to like, everything is a competition. You know, you're either, like his phrase was, you're either competing or you're not. So it's like, absolutely everything is a competition. So he would put up the film and be like, oh, wow. And so someone loses that rep and gets embarrassed in front of the team, and someone gets, you know, he would big up the guys who would win, but there's a guy on the other end of that that's like, oh, that's embarrassing. I don't want that to happen again. Yeah. And if it was close between the defense and offense, he would be like, guys would yell out, shoot off, shoot off.
That's so
and so
good.
like he would like rally the crowd, like get them going. And then they would, they'd have 30 seconds, shoot off who could make the most shots. And then he'd pull pranks on people. It was just like every team meeting was always so funny.
That's so good to hear.
Yeah.
You always wonder when you see, I'm not being disrespectful at all, but when you see an older coach and then you see all the young coaches that come in, and you always think, are they past it? And I've always wondered, what is it about like Pete Carroll? Because everyone seems to love him. And now I'm getting a bit more insight from you. And that's amazing. Like me personally, I'd love that. I reckon that's what you want. You want to be able to compete and then also go to that meeting and not be tense, because they can be really intense.
Yeah, no, not at all. I reckon he would do 20,000 steps a day at practice.
Really?
Like, not exaggerating. He pacing around everywhere, up the front of the meeting, jumping, like moving around. And then at practice, he's got one of the equipment managers, and he's just like ripping the ball 40 yards, 30 yards, just nonstop. And I'm like, how's your shoulder? Like, that would kill my shoulder. No, he's just going every day, every walkthrough, every practice, running around, like easily 20,000 steps.
That's so good to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, you see coaches pre-game all the time running stairs and whatnot. But while we're on Pete, like, do you think, was his relationship with Gino like really special?
Yeah, I think like Gino has a really cool story.
Yeah.
So I know Pete really respected how Gino carried himself as a backup behind Russ. And then the year that Russ got hurt, Gino kind of stepped in, and I don't know if Pete kind of really like let him take over with like passing game and stuff. He kind of changed the game plan a little bit to be more run focused for the first couple games we played, and we lost. And then the last game, he kind of just like let him do what he wanted. He let him like air it out a bit more, and Gino killed it. And then Russ kind of came back the next week, and we didn't have a successful season after that. But I think Pete kind of saw that Gino was probably a bit underrated and probably should be a starter. So then the next year, you know, that trade happened, the famous trade with Russ to Denver, and Gino took over, and he did really well. And Pete really liked Gino, I know that. And yeah, I think they just had a lot of respect for each other.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. It's good intel. The Broncos country. Let's ride. Jeez, that really fizzled that one.
Yeah,
we really got sucked in. They sucked us in big time. What about you, Ryan? Are you a mad Seahawks man? Like, who do you follow in the NFL?
Yeah, Seahawks now.
Yeah.
Before, I didn't really follow NFL growing up, and then obviously once I went to college, Michael had his first year at the Seahawks, so automatically that translated. But went to a few Dallas games as well. Spent some time out there during college. So, but always a Seattle man.
And your college career, from my intel, was you're the next punter after Dicko. Is that right?
Yeah.
And you had a lot of injuries. Is that good intel?
Yeah.
So different kind of story. Is it 2 knees?
No, I did. My collarbone was my first one. That only put me out for a few games.
Yeah.
And then the ACL was 2020, my 3rd season.
Yeah.
And then I cut out half my year of that year, and then I didn't play the year after.
So it's collarbone and 1 knee. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
ACLs are the worst when you see them. I mean, see Kyrie Irving go down the other day. You just
did he?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Yeah.
He come back and had his free throws. But you just know that 9 to 12 months and then all the bloody confidence to get back.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you go handling that?
It was tough. It was like the first major injury. Like growing up playing footy at home, never really had a big injury. But then having that, I knew it was going to be tough. But 3 months in, I was like, my knee's not feeling any better. Like the tendonitis is there. I'm doing all squats and I don't feel comfortable on it. And it was kind of like, it doesn't just impact your performance. It affects you off the field too. You're like, oh shit, like I'm not part of the team. I'm just in the rehab room the whole time. Like I'm not competing for a job. Everyone's asking at home, like, are you playing this year? And you're like, yeah, but deep down, you're probably not. So it's tough, like the recovery to come back from a big surgery like that, and knowing like the mental battle of not only just like your physical body, but like the mental side of it as well. Like, do I have the confidence? What do people think if I'm not playing? Like I'm competing for a job again. Like the whole experience, it taught you, like at a young age, it teaches you kind of more just about sport.
It's kind of like a weird position because you could run, you could kick, like you were in good shape dealing with like your tendinopathy, because I was like training with him in the off season. I was kind of with him through like a good chunk of it. And so it's just punting. It's like if something's off and you're not hitting the sweet spot, or you're not able to explode off, like it was on your plant leg, you're not able to explode off your plant leg. It's just like, you're not really gonna have success trying to punt through it. You can't really just like force yourself through stuff. Like growing up playing footy, if you had like a little injury, you can kind of get moving and it's kind of good. You forget about it. But with punting, there's a lot of downtime and the pain will come back, and then your form gets a little off and you only get 4 punts a game. And if 2 of them are bad, 50% of your game was bad, and you just put your team in a bad spot. So it's like, it would have been so tough to go through all that with your knee for sure.
Especially like during the developmental stages, you're like figuring out how to actually punt, how to punt well in a game. Because you come from AFL, you don't really torp that much. Yeah. And then you go there and you're like, oh, I feel like I'm getting better. I'm hitting a few good balls. And then you got an injury and you're like, all right, the form that I had or that work that I figured out isn't working now because I don't have the same explosion that I used to have. So yeah, it was all part of the journey.
And you go mad. Like I've well documented my injuries at the end of my career, but you just get so lonely, and you're also working 15 times harder. You know, a bit of mayo on the 15, but like you're literally just grinding away, getting cardio in. You're not getting any skills in just to get yourself back on the park to then do your job.
What did you do?
I did calf tendon at the end, but then all the muscles around stopped working, and it was one of those ones where I've never done a knee, so I'm lucky, or a collarbone and anything really bad. But the thing with this that killed me was there was no timeline on it. It was like, we can't give you an answer. You know, it becomes 16 weeks in the end. And everyone was like, oh, it's just a calf tendon, like you've nipped it, like you'll be right. But, you know, you're running around, you're waking up, you're like, geez, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
You know, you go for a jog and you're like, something's not right there. And you start to think, am I going crazy?
Yeah.
Then you first came back, I nicked a little gastroc just around it because the muscles all stopped working. So it's just a frustrating game. So when you hear injuries, you just feel sorry for some blokes because it's good that you did it at a young age. It'll teach you a lot.
Yeah, definitely. That's a big part.
And, you know, we'll start with college. We'll come back to some NFL stuff. But Texas Longhorns, like it's probably the most famous college, one of. I mean, Alabama's very successful, but it's probably the sexiest college to go there. You see Matt McConaughey getting around, you know. What's it like playing at a big college like Texas?
Like I try and think back to my freshman year, and like I honestly don't remember anything. I remember my first game, and I kind of just remember the bad stuff from my freshman year. My first game, we played Notre Dame there in front of 80,000, I think, and we got smacked. And I think I ended up punting, I think 10 times, which is too much.
Yeah.
But first ball was a rollout, didn't hit it too well. Next ball, I think it was like backed up. I think I was doing a one-stepper out of the end zone, which is the worst position to be in.
I feel sorry for blokes when they go on. It's just everything can go wrong.
Oh, yeah. It was awful. Shanked it. And then I'm on the sideline. My parents are there. And the coach comes up to me. He's like, hey, just so you know, like, you're going to be benched for the rest of the game. We'll let our backup do it. And I was just like, oh. And I'm trying to find them in the crowd. I'm like, how am I going to communicate to them that, like, I'm done playing? Like, they flew out to Chicago, then drove to South Bend. I just felt like shit. But then halftime comes around. There was no punts after my last shank. And Coach Strong was just like, hey, you're back in. Dust it off, you're back in. And I was just thanking God. And then I went out and crushed it. I had a good second half of the game. But I really remember that because I think like I wonder what would have happened if he just benched me. I wonder what would have happened to my confidence. I wonder if I would have played the next week. I just wonder where it would have gone. So I'm always thankful for Strong for just kind of having faith in me.
It is important to back your players. Isn't it?
100%, especially as a freshman.
I saw a clip. It's in AFL, but it was when they win a premiership, they do the. I guess they watch the game, and I think about 6 players each quarter get to watch a game. And anyway, Coach Fagan is asked a question about Ashcroft, and he said, "What were you thinking when he was coming back from his ACL? You obviously got him straight back in." And he reckons he made a call to Lee Matthews, and he said, well, maybe if you show some faith and belief in him, he might repay you one day. And then he ends up being the Norm Smith medalist on grand final day. He goes, well, he paid me back, pretty well.
Yeah,
but it just goes to show you, when you've got a coach or anyone, even your boss at work that just believes in you, it's amazing what you can get back from your players.
Definitely.
And this is what you get back. You get a bloke that, and then you tell me my male with the knee was wrong. So let's see how good this one was. But you were the first punter ever to win MVP in a college bowl game. Is that true?
I think technically yes. So there was a kicker and punter that played both roles that won it before me. But strictly punter, yeah.
Give yourself the credit, mate.
Yeah, come on, man. Normally if you're in America, they live that up. In Australia, we're a bit more humble down here, aren't we?
Just don't want anyone going, oh, technically.
Yeah, it's good. Little asterisks on the top. Yeah. But what's that like? I mean, that's incredible. It's pretty hard to take over a game as a punter. And get MVP.
Yeah.
It's like this.
Yeah, I thought it was a joke when they told me. I remember, because I knew it was my last game going into it. The game before actually has a funny story. But yeah, going into it, knew it was my last game. And then just everything was sitting inside the 5. And I was like, sweet. And I was walking off and guys were doing this. Like, you're going to get drafted, you're getting paid. And I was like, just that. Yeah, that was a fun game. But my spirals that game weren't actually too good, but
we're so harsh on ourselves, aren't we? I love how you go. I just remember the bad stuff.
Yeah.
We're kind of wired that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much. The week before was the best game I think I ever had in college, and I wasn't. So I almost didn't play the first half of that game because Herman had some rule that if you miss a lift, you're benched for the first half. But it was like some weird thing where I had a test I had to take at the end of practice, so I had to leave early. So I missed like the breakdown. And in that breakdown, they changed the schedule for the lift. They're like, hey, we normally lift on Wednesday, but now we're going to lift on Tuesday morning. I didn't get that message. I was just doing my test. And then so I wake up like normal, like my body clock woke me up at 6. I'm just chilling in my house. Like could have easily made the lift if I knew it was on. But missed the lift. They call me up. They're like, oh, you got to come in, like trying to scare me and stuff. Herman's like, yeah, well, you're going to have to miss the first half of the game, like, because you missed the lift. And I was like trying to explain to him the whole situation. And he's like, let me think about it. I was in limbo for a couple days. And then he was like, oh, what about if you come in at 5 a.m. for 5 days straight and just mop the floors, I'll let you play. I was like, whatever to play this game. Like it's my last game at Texas, like whatever it takes. And so, yeah, I had to go in and mop the floors of the academic center to get to play, and I ended up playing my best game. Cliff Kingsbury ended up writing me like a handwritten note saying you crushed it. So yeah.
That is crazy.
That's why those floors were so shiny first day when I came in.
Yeah. That's unbelievable. And how's the coach? He could have just said, come in tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, do it for 5 days.
Yeah, he was crazy.
I'm telling you, he was like the Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, just old school.
Mm-hmm.
That is, and what did he say to you once you punted the lights out after the game? He would have got right around you.
No. He didn't call me by my name when I was at Texas.
I find it so bizarre how people can be like that.
Yeah. No. So
is he military background? Is he similar to? Because Urban was like that, wasn't he? With his father?
Was he? No,
he just.
No, I don't know. He just kind of had a thing that he hated specialists. Just like call me punter. Like I don't know if it was a joke or what.
He probably thought it was like his way of being cool with the other position groups.
Yeah, like we don't value. Yeah, we don't value those boys.
All the other boys were like, "Oh man, that's so messed up." I don't care. You can call me whatever. Like, I'll just punt the ball and get out of here. Like, I really don't.
Give me the Hawks.
Yeah, exactly. But since leaving, like he's like patched it up. Like he's tried to be cool about it.
It's funny. You probably have. I mean, I'm speaking out of pocket here, but you'd have mixed emotions because he would have taught you a lot. Like in terms of what not to do if you're a coach, but also how much to value. You talk about Pete Carroll. We'll talk about Mike in a second, but your new coach.
Yeah.
But you fell in love with Pete. So it's like you probably didn't realize
You're right.
how lucky you were with Pete if you didn't have that experience at college.
We'll talk about it all the time, because you had Herman for 3 years.
3, yeah.
Yeah. So like we talk about just like all the, like all the piss tests we had to do at 5 a.m., waking up at like an hour before that to drink water and just like reach these crazy levels of discipline with the guy. But it did teach you how far you can go when it comes to discipline. Like as hard as it was, I feel like I took a lot out of the program with Herman for sure.
Give us an insight to like these things that you had to do that not a normal person would do.
Yeah, like it's so different. You come from being kind of a regular person playing footy back home, and then day one, like everything's repeat, start over. Like workouts, you're up at 5 a.m. If you're not 15 minutes early, you're 15 minutes late.
Yeah, we had that one as well.
But it was just up every morning. Like you've got to pee, like Michael was saying, like in a cup. There's interns standing there just watching you, basically doing a drug test every morning. And they made the limit so much lower than the normal limit just to like prove a point that you had to get up and drink water at 4 a.m.
Which it wasn't like they made the limit too hydrated to where people were just like flooding themselves with water.
Can't sleep.
But so you'd have to get up. So if the workout started at 5, I was getting up at like 3:30 because the first thing you had to do was take a drug test. So you're like in your dorm room going, that doesn't look hydrated enough. So you're just like chugging water so early in the morning, and you still have like class and everything afterwards. But so like the facility like outside on the field just smelled like piss because guys were too hydrated that like you would do your hydration test and it would be in a shower. So people are just pissing in the shower. And then like you get out, roll and do your stretches and you're like, oh shit, I need to piss again. So then people were just pissing behind walls and everything.
On the stadium.
It was
go to the side.
It was too much. Yeah. It was way too much.
You didn't cheat? Like we worked out you just slide a bit of water in.
Yeah, we did. Everyone would either spit in a cup.
So guys would do that where you just like go in, have water in your mouth, spit in the cup and then go. But guys got caught for that when I was there.
So they started watching you.
And it was the scariest talk ever after that. We basically threatened that like the workout would be so hard. Like he said back in the day, like maybe another coach in a different era, guys would end up in hospital. That's how hard the punishment would have been.
Oh, wow.
So guys were like, all right, we're not doing that again. But like if one person failed, the whole team would get punished.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it was like to that level.
And you didn't want to be that one guy because then everyone's off you. Mm-hmm. That's what really kills you, doesn't it, in a team? It's like you can handle you're late to a meeting and the coach punishes you one-on-one. But when you let your brothers down, it really affects you because you're like, oh, what are they going to say about me? Do they think less of me? They don't care about my excuse.
Yeah.
It's an awful punishment.
Yeah.
Like some of the weird workouts we used to do was like in the winter off season, it'd block out like in our indoor facility, there'd be windows and they'd paper mache the whole thing and make you like they called it, what was it? The
Sun's out,
guns out, the winter off season. You'd have to run around and they'd be playing random music like, what's the West Virginia one?
Just even the morning on game day that's similar to that.
True.
So it would be like, we were sharing a hotel with like other people, regular people, and the coaches and the GAs would run through with like megaphones and big speakers, like bang, 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 like banging on the doors at like 7 a.m. We play at 2, just banging on the doors. And then we'd have to get out, run. What was it called?
Like a wipeout crash course. They would set up like tables with
stuff to like wake us up.
Pillows. You'd be diving under tables with tablecloths over them. Yeah.
Running.
A mini boot camp.
And then you had to scull a drink of water at the end.
On you. This is the morning of the game day. So you wake up, cortisol just through the roof, stressed out. It was just the worst way to go into a game.
But that's just like Herman summed up. You were just constantly stressed.
On edge.
Like all the time. Off season, in season. Yeah. Like you'd just be paranoid about.
Even when, so they banged on the wrong person's door and like a guy came out with a gun. It was just like hectic.
That is wild.
Yeah. And you just hear the story and you're like, oh yeah.
Maybe we need a doco on Texas.
Honestly.
I just watched the Florida one.
It's pretty accurate.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Who were some players that you've played with? So one thing with me is I'm obsessed with NFL. I can't consume college Otherwise, I'll be a sicko. Like I've got to actually do some work and whatnot. But I can't keep up with college, but I can NFL. So my, just I guess my education around the game and who's been aware, you kind of know through the players that make it to the big league. But yeah, it's not as good as it should be, and I'm learning more and more. So give me some players that you played with at college that are now dominating.
You probably got
I played
more
with
bigger names.
My first year at SMU, I played with Rasheed Rice.
Yeah.
Now the Chiefs.
Beast as well.
Yeah. With Xavier Worthy was 1 year. Who were some other big names? I'm probably leaving out. There's so many guys that we played with that, like, while we were with Herman, he was like, oh, like, we weren't winning games.
What's his name?
Like,
Bijan Robinson?
Bijan I played with.
He's I met him at the Super Bowl in Vegas. He was the nicest guy I met. All the running backs are very nice. I don't know if that's a thing around the league. It's like they are blue collar, but every time I met a running back, they were just so humble.
Yeah, they are.
And funny. Really like just happy to go have a chat. They were actually really nice. It was like, I don't feel too rude asking you 3 questions.
Yeah. The cornerbacks and the D-line are the ones that are usually got personalities.
I love the
Big Njoku from the tight end. Like he was a nice guy, but he was a different cat. I was just a different culture than me and him.
So that's when you were doing interviews,
just rolling around
at the Super Bowl?
Radio Row, just on my own.
Nice!
I got sucked in with Andy Reid. There's a fake Andy Reid, and I thought I got him.
No way!
So I was like, put it up as well, and everyone loved it. And then I was humbled about it 2 hours later.
So good.
One of the boys from SEM were like, "Hey mate, we've got this business card." He's like, he runs his business. It's like fake Andy Reid.
Was it pretty accurate?
Spitting image, like. Everyone back home thought it was Andy Reid.
Okay.
And then when I found out I got rolled, I was like, I'll just leave it there. I'll show you the video. I'll show you the mate. He's spitting image.
And that was in New Orleans?
Hey?
That was in New Orleans?
Nah, in Vegas.
Oh, that was in Vegas.
2 Super Bowls ago, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mate, he got me a beauty, but I'm so grateful I got him because I got me confidence up because on my own, I was a bit, like I'm not. It's pretty hard to interview one-on-one. So you've got to do like a selfie video and you almost need someone to video for you. I didn't have that. So I was just going for it. And and with fake Andy, like he was I rolled in, I was a bit tired, we were in Vegas going out every night, rolled in, come on, let's go. And pumped a few questions out and he was real funny. I'm like, he's pretty funny.
So good.
All the signs were there. Like I was just delusional. Yeah. I'm normally a bit sharper than that. But then I was like, I've got Andy Reid. I can get anyone. So I was chasing up Bijan Robinson and Njoku and
so it worked out perfectly.
It worked out perfectly, man. Like there was that many people around. Rampage Jackson. Who else was there? Who's the bald guy?
What was that?
Chuck
Did
Liddell.
you interview him? Rampage?
Yeah.
Is that crazy? He's got a crazy look.
He was all right. Actually, yeah, he's all right. I reckon he's a horny bastard. He kept talking about like, you can just tell, go through his video. He's always just going back to like weird shit. I'm like, all right, that's enough of you. Chuck Liddell was there. I mean, everyone was just walking in. I remember Saquon Barkley walked in, but he had a good team around him. You couldn't stop him. Yeah. He rolled through. Cam Newton rolled in. I got I got one word with him. He was on a mission.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool, like walking around there.
Yeah.
Anyway, we go back to college, but Bijan Robinson was
big name.
I think it was one of the boys I was talking to online that punts. I can't remember one of the Aussies that was at college, and he was just saying, mate, he's an absolute animal. That guy. Like I think it was when he first went into the NFL. They're like, mate, this bloke used to just dominate college.
Yeah, he used to he's jacked. You look at his body, his physique, and you're like, you don't even look real. Like just bodybuilder, and was so agile. Like you'd watch him in games and can just such low center of gravity. Like the way he just cut through, make people look silly. You look at the clips online and he's just like spinning around.
He still does it in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's not that big either.
No, he's it's probably like 6'1" maybe.
I felt like I was taller than him.
Maybe, I could be off.
I'm 6'1.5".
Yeah, maybe he's not that tall.
Yeah. And he's not that, like he didn't look that jacked as well. And you watch like cop some big hits. Like he's so exploded. Jimmy Gibbs, I ran into him in the at the casino and just had a quick chat. I think he was just couldn't believe I knew who he was. He had the hoodie on, but quick chat with him. But he's exploded. He's not that big either.
Yeah.
They cop just pounding the running backs, don't they?
Yeah.
That's why their careers are so short, I guess.
Yeah.
Who were the quarterbacks when you were there?
I played with Shane Bujcevski and Sam Unger. And who else did I play with? Was that it?
That was it, yeah.
Yeah. They were the main starters.
Yeah. What about you? Who would you?
Same. I played with Gerard, Tyrone, Swoops, and then Sam Ellinger, Shane Bujcevski.
Yeah. Biggest name that was there?
Biggest name? I'm trying to think.
There's a lot of like consistent guys in the league, like Devin Duvernay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Will Jordan.
He's a beast.
Humphrey.
Yeah. Lil Jordan.
Malcolm Roach. There's actually a lot of guys that aren't.
Duvernay
like
was in the
superstars,
Baltimore because I'm a
Yeah.
Ravens man, but I felt like he was always he never got enough snaps.
Yeah.
He was always
Yeah.
returning,
punts.
Always returning
touchdowns.
for a
Yeah,
touchdown,
anyone that
yeah.
can return a touchdown, you think, why aren't they getting
Yeah.
more reps?
Yeah.
Let's get to some more of me fun facts here, boys, because I'm on fire here. But Dicko, I hear, and you are the craziest trainer ever when it comes to punting. 6 hours a day when you are going.
Who'd you hear that from?
Aaron Sipos. I'll just name drop him because if it's shit mail, I'm going to go Sip. Come on, mate. But he reckons
Throw
you
him under
kick
the
balls
bus.
more than anyone.
Yeah.
True?
Yeah.
That's unreal.
Yeah, I think it probably stemmed from when I was in college, my freshman year, and just mid-season, I was like, I don't have the juice in my legs anymore. And I just spoke to our kicker at the time. I was like, how do you keep doing it? And he goes, off-season, I just kick every day. It's probably like, it was good advice for me then because I don't go, I can only kick 3 times a week. That's my limit. Like, I'll just go until I kind of feel that, that's enough. In the off season, I'll kind of push it as much as I can. And then in training camp, I push it as much as I can. I try and do all my recovery as well. But I feel like you either use it or lose it. Like it's kind of the same with any other
It's like doing
physical
bench press, isn't it?
activity.
Yeah.
So I punt a lot, and then on game day, I punt a lot. So then if there's a game where I feel tight or I don't have the juice in my legs, I can just dial it back and I'm good. And then if there is a time where I need to work on something, I have enough reps in the tank to be able to work through what I need to work through. I like having it just, in the back pocket.
It's good. And you'd have a lot of confidence game day knowing you've done all that work as well.
Yeah, because game day, I get out there, warm up, 2 hours before kickoff, and I'm punting a lot. Basically every punter is like, man, you punt a lot. I punt a lot pre-game, and then I punt a lot in the net during the game. It's pretty tiring. I reckon I burn thousands of calories on game day.
But having fun. Do you love punting?
Yeah, no, I love it.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Good. Everyone I've spoken to, like Tory Taylor, who was on the other week, and he just goes, man, I love it. Like he's studying the trajectory of the ball and everything. Like he's like, I love everything
It's like
about
golf.
it.
You get obsessed with it.
You kind of have to be, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I think I'd be similar. I think I'd want to keep going till my quad tightens up, because you just want to keep
especially
practicing.
when you're like hitting them well, you just like can go. We had a day one off season in Texas where we're like, shit, we've been out here punting for 2 hours. Do we keep going? We're like, it's fun. Like we're crushing it. Why not? So I think we had 3 or 4 hour session and then we went back the next day and tried to do it again and got like 2 hours.
And 3 hours in, we were hitting our best balls.
We're hitting
That's why
our
we did
best
it, yeah.
balls by the end of the session.
Yeah.
So
which is good signs.
And it's like 38 degrees. So now anything,
Rigs out.
if it's cold or if it's like 31 degrees here and you want to go for a run, people are like, oh, are you crazy? And you're like, well, the baseline now is 38 degrees punting for 3 hours. So anything that's not that is pretty easy.
It would be hot in Texas, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
your feet burn sometimes. Where you need to. I've like had to run off and just pour water in my shoes because the bottom of your feet feels like it's melting.
Wow. Yeah, that's because some of this, it's not fake turf, isn't it? Some of the grounds over there.
Yeah, it's always the fake turf that melts,
they get real
melts
hot.
your feet. Yeah.
What about Texas, the place? What have you like? Did you fall in love with it?
Yeah. Austin's beautiful.
Because you played at Dallas afterwards, didn't you?
Yeah,
which
they
is
were
not
so
too far
different.
away.
Yeah. Dallas was like a bigger, probably more like Melbourne, like bigger business district center. Austin was like a smaller town, felt like a college town, but wasn't. It's obviously boomed since Michael was there and then I was there and now it's gotten even bigger. But it was great. Like everything was in kind of walk-in or 15-minute drive distance. Downtown's beautiful. Like it's got the water. It kind of felt like home a little bit. I don't know why we'd always say it, but it was like the color of the buildings or something.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah, we went to ACL, the music festival a few years ago, but it was those container bars and all that. It's a great spot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got the big cities in New York and then LA. I mean, LA used to be my favorite. It's starting to change. I like Newport. I'm more of a Newport beach kind of man. That's what you get. You get more relaxed vibe down there. And I think Austin's a bit like that as well.
It's like a young, fit city.
Yeah.
It's just good energy. There's good food, healthy food. I got a spot down there, so I spend some of my off season in Austin as well. So
yeah, nice.
Love it there.
Is this the longest you've spent? How long do you normally spend out in Australia for back home?
The last 2 years I've done like 10 weeks straight after the season. Just been lifting and playing tennis with my mates. Haven't started punting yet. But family, friends, try and get as much time back home as I can.
It's good because it's so full on.
Oh, yeah. Especially right after the season in Seattle, we don't see sun for 2 months, 3 months. You come home and it's summer, just pasty. But it's enjoyable getting home into the heat and stuff.
Oh, it's beautiful in Sydney, so you get it back pretty quickly.
Mm.
I haven't been to Seattle. I'll have to come watch a game. I mean,
Definitely.
it's the loudest place in town, isn't it?
Yeah. The stadium's built so it kind of like ricochets to the middle of the field. It's loud. It can get really loud.
So good.
We'll see what happens with the quarterback. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, what are we thinking? Like, we obviously, so we need to let everyone know we're pre-recording this. So what are we today? It's Monday, the 10th. So this will be out on the 17th. So if anyone has a go at us, boys, we just need to make sure that they need to understand that there's more males. Someone might get signed tomorrow. You know? Knowing our luck, they'll get signed the day after they release it. But no quarterback. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Your team though is, well, your head coach is heavy defense, and the defense is lights out.
Yeah.
So it is going to be interesting to see who they get. Do they fill it in with an Aaron Rodgers for a year and find someone else, or is it
be cool?
Go back and I think Sam Darnold's around. It's it's going to be fun to see who you go.
I know. I really don't. All I can think of, like, I don't really know anyone coming out of college. I guess I don't follow it enough. I'm sure there's a plan. I'm sure they know what they're doing. Well, they're trusting those guys, let them figure it out.
100%. Who's your closest teammate at the Seahawks?
It was Radigan, but so like we got pretty close last off season. We'd go in, shoot hoops, we'd ride scooters around different cities. Well, that was the plan. We did it in Nashville, and then we got to do this every week. And then they cut him right at the end of training camp. So pretty much now, I mean, your specialists you're always close with because we have such a different schedule than everyone else. We come in, do our meetings. Guys have to lift before meetings. We get to lift when they're meeting. Then they do walkthrough. We don't have a walkthrough, so we kind of just, we do recovery stuff, which is like contrast. Like getting the sauna, getting the hot tub. Like it's recovery, but it's chill. Yeah. So, but in meetings, like I'm dialed. I'm like taking notes. There's only so much you can meet about, you know. And Jay Harbaugh is the special teams coach, and he has trust in us he's kind of just lets us do our thing when it comes to form and everything. But so specialists, we always kind of get to hang out.
Play a bit of golf?
No, they do, but I don't.
I've heard that.
Jason is apparently incredible at golf.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of them are.
Yeah.
So what do you do with your spare time?
In season or off season?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't really. No one plays golf in season.
Yeah, it's more off season.
It's more an off season thing, but you kind of just gassed. Like you get home, like practices at the end of the day, and you need to like make dinner. Sun sets at like 4:30.
That early?
Yeah.
It's an adjustment, isn't it?
So it's different if it's a later sunset. You feel like you have a bigger day, but
you go for a walk and you listen to a podcast and drive your car and hang out at the house with the wife and dog. It's pretty much.
The season's doesn't like, you'd be on a plane straight away. There's just some short turnarounds, isn't there?
And I'm kind of the guy that doesn't want to do much in season. Like if something comes up, I'm like, it's a Friday, we play Sunday, we'll get home at 10. I like being asleep by 9:30. It just doesn't, to me, I'm like, I know it's a sacrifice. I have to sacrifice in season. Off season, I get 7 months to kind of just do whatever I want. I'll do it then.
It's a big off season, isn't it? When you break it down,
it's incredible.
It'd be really tough actually being a receiver and a running back. They'd have to train every day, wouldn't they? Like they wouldn't be able to have too much time off. You'd imagine.
Yeah, but like I'll train a lot. Like I'll lift and punt a lot. It takes up 3-4 hours of your day, and then and you can schedule it kind of whenever you want. So
so you can do it at the night time or whenever you want.
Yeah.
Are you a morning man or other?
I would say morning, mid-morning, like ideally 10, 11.
Yeah. Get the sleep in.
Sleep in, do whatever you want.
Cruise,
and then
get it done.
Do the workout, and then you're done by 2. You can get the afternoon to do whatever you want.
Now, when you're punting the ball, there's all these different kicks, as we know, So when you're training, are you practicing from all different distances or are you just smoking them?
You're pretty much trying to smoke them. You're trying to just get that punt because things always change. You can be like, I've got the perfect form right now. If I could just lock this in, that would be incredible. but something changes, you know, there's a practice where it's raining and you're kicking wet balls, and then that kind of goes over to the next day where it messed with your form a little bit. But yeah, you kind of just want that spiral to be perfect, and you can always improve on direction. You can always improve on hang and distance. Like the bananas and the like going in kicks, like the pooch kicks.
That's what they call them. I've never heard that. The pooch kick.
Yeah. Like that's when I'm fetching the balls for Jason, I kind of play Aussie rules to him. Like I'll run, pick him up, like hit like a drop punch straight to him, hit a banana, hit a snap. So I kind of get all that work in for fun, or when I'm warming up, I'll take shots on goal. And yeah.
That's grass.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Do you explain Aussie rules to some of the American boys, and do they get around it? Because like we get the 100,000. I feel like they disrespect our sport. Not saying they disrespect. They just have no idea about Australia.
Yeah, it's so specific. There's a good YouTube video. I always refer to it. I was just like, go watch it. It's a 7-minute YouTube video. It's an American. They'll explain it. And it's perfect.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Geez, you need to send me that, because sometimes people
it's so
ask
hard
me
to explain.
I
would just say just YouTube it. It's so different, and it's like nothing. Or if we don't have our phone, I'll be like, it's soccer and rugby.
Yeah.
Because they're always like, is it rugby?
Because people go, show me your highlights. I just get in that 5 up, and they go, oh, is that you? And they, yeah, that's me. You know, get it right around me after that.
Play it off.
You've got no idea. Right? You can just say what you want.
Get your revenge on Andy Reid.
Yeah. So don't Google my highlights. Google his. And literally have no idea. Like, I just can't believe they've never heard of it. You know? Even like, I think it was Tory Taylor last week. He was saying one of his teammates when they went to London was like, mate, so what's it like being back home? He's like, mate, I'm from Australia.
That's terrible. Yeah, I guess it's Australian specific, so they probably wouldn't. Much of the world wouldn't know too much about it.
What about Mikey Daniels as a coach? What's he like?
He's good. He's just so smart. Like having someone who is super prepared every week, kind of comes in and talks to the guys, and is very complete opposite to Pete in the way he interacts with the team. But the guys love him. He admits like, oh, I'm not like the most charismatic, but you know, this is what we want to do. And the guys get around it. So he's very authentic to himself. He doesn't try to play up that he's, you know, this type of, I'll rally everyone and I'll give the best speech. But he gives great speeches without, you know, even really trying. So
he's just authentic to who
he's just authentic, yeah. But he's just super smart as well. You know, we over the bye week, we're kind of struggling in certain areas. And he's like, I obsessed over it this whole bye week. This is what we're doing. And then like the defense after that just balled out. So he's, since that point, I mean, I already respected what he was doing, but since that point, I was like, he's on it. Like he's locked in.
Yeah, I was spewing because I was a Ravens man. We lost our team. I was like, I wonder how we go.
They figured it out in the end.
Yeah, they figured it out. But I was like, oh, it's just always the case. I mean, look at Detroit now. I think they've lost 7 of their like assistants and whatnot. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go next season. Here's a good one for you while we're talking about Dicko here, but this is from Geno Smith. But this is pretty cool. I think we have the best punter in the league. And then there was a little swipe across and your head coach talking about, you know, how valuable you are to the team. It must feel pretty nice when, you know, you're getting recognized from your quarterback and coach like that.
Yeah, definitely. Like they don't have to say that, but for them to recognize it and publicly, like Mike McDonald said it a few times last year in the press conferences. So it was really cool to get the respect of a new coach. I know I had Pete's respect. So that was always in my mentality in the off season. I was like, I just really want to win the respect of the coaches, as much as that makes me sound like a little kiss ass or whatever. But like I really did want to show them that I was valuable to the team.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much the hardest thing when you come in, right? That doesn't matter where you are. You're always just trying to get the respect and whatnot. What are you doing with yourself now, great man? What's life look like for you?
Yeah, so once I graduated, I went back to Austin for a few months and was doing a wealth management internship there. Was testing it out, I did a finance degree at the end, and that kind of just teed up like that. And I was like, I don't know if it's for me. I don't know if I loved like the 9 to 5 office job, very different corporate when you go from playing footy in a locker room to going to corporate.
Yeah.
Just felt not fake, but just like everyone was and that was a good environment, don't get me wrong, but it's just like you felt like you're putting on a character that you don't feel kind of authentic. Long story short, I come back home, doing some support work now, and always wanted to do my own little thing. I know you've got RIXX going, which is cool, and obviously the pod. But I've created a new electrolyte business now that still early stages, got the samples pretty organized, just working with my designer to finalize packaging. So trying to get a little e-commerce biz up and running. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's been a stressful bit.
I smashed them. Send me some because I'll tell you straight away. If they're good, I'll buy a heap of them. I mean, Beautiful. I'll have 2 a day.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah. A bit like the piss test in the morning. If you're behind, which I always am, I'm smacking them just at the start to get going.
Well, that was like the thing. I was like, I always am into health and human optimization, like all the latest technology and carnivore diets and this. And as we were talking about earlier with the hydration test, we'd get these sports gels that were just like sour that you'd suck on, or you'd have Body Armor and Gatorades. Like by the end of it, you'd be like, I've had 3 Gatorades.
Yeah, you feel full
sugar. Like at the end of the day,
pickle juice, mate, for the cramps. So that's quinine tablets, those salt tablets. Just awful. Horrific.
Yeah. So I was like, I just want something that's clean, that you don't feel guilty drinking every day. That's not like super sugary. So it's got no sugar. We've got a good ratio. And the sweetener as well is all natural. It's all kind of like I wanted the most.
You tried it already?
Yeah. I tried the sample. It's good. Like
that's mint
compared to some of the other like salt. Like I don't like the aftertaste you get from a lot of the other like electrolyte stuff. But honestly, I'm like, mate, get it going. I want this every day.
Yeah,
like it's honestly legit.
That's good. And what the name?
Buje.
Yeah. Oh, is that what you're rocking?
That's the shirt.
I like that. I was going to say, I saw that. I'll ask that one later. That's good. Buje,
yeah.
And that's good. Well, yeah, let us know when it's up. Yeah, that's great to hear.
Definitely send you some packages.
I'll give you some feedback. If it's good, mate, I mean, you can't have enough. I mean, there's obviously the hydrolytes are there, and I think the Boost is another one. And it's one that I'm having at the moment. I can't remember what it is, but hey, we don't worry about them anymore. It's all about being bougie. Just get that in there. I think the berry one. Tell me you got a berry flavor.
So I put up an Instagram thing, and a lot of the feedback's been watermelon and lemon lime. But we're going to branch out. So we'll start with those 2, a citrus and a sweet, and then we'll branch out definitely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old e-commerce, that's the way to go. Get everyone to help out, put it up.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's funny because even the one I'm having at the moment, I've found you can't find it on the shelves. You know, every second time I go to Chemist Warehouse, it's just not there. So e-commerce is where it's at.
That's right. And especially you leave America and you feel like you've lost these connections, or like you're like, oh, I've been living my life there and now I've come home and I don't feel like you kind of not fit in, but everyone's over there. That's right.
Different network in the States.
Yeah, and you're like, that's the perfect way to bridge the gap between now living here, operating it here, but being able to have the connections and give it to the boys overseas as well.
Get Dicko to get into the facility, mate.
Yeah,
get the boys.
Throw all the other ones out.
Get DK to have it in Pittsburgh. Get DK to get it out there.
That's
and away we go. That's how it is, though. Like, that's what I've loved, with RIXX is like, it's amazing how, you connect. Yeah, loving the Boston cherries there, man.
Love them.
I love that hat as well. That hat's been popping up on my Instagram flat out lately. Yeah. It's a really nice brand, that hat.
It's nice.
Looks comfy as well.
It's comfy. It's thick. Shout out Crafted. I got a green one as well. I just feel like it fits my head. Like you find a hat that fits your head and you kind of just rock with it. So I've been wearing this nonstop.
And the cherries combinations.
Oh, mate. Cherries go perfectly with it.
Collab with Crafted. That's a nice little shout out there.
That's great.
And let's get to the RIXX segment while we're on the e-commerce. I was going to do it at the end, but let's do it now. Now, boys, I've got 3 options. So you guys go through them and pick. I know, Dicko, you've got the Boston. So if you want another color, I've got the green.
I got a little care package. Did you know about that?
Yeah.
I love them. I'll wear them on the plane and guys are like, oh, what are those? What are those?
That's so cool.
So I always shout you guys out to the teammates.
I love it, man. I love it. That's always the
sick.
I get excited when you boys roll in.
Ooh, are these new?
Which ones we got there?
These Boston. Are like green.
Yeah, released them
last year.
Sick.
I like those.
Yeah, I love these.
Chuck them on for me, lads.
These are beautiful too.
Question. Yeah, that's
like is it a cool blue?
That's a Storm Soho. It's a dark grey.
Dark grey.
So chuck them on. We've got a new segment here from our friends here at RIXX. And by the way, as always, guys, use our discount code ACES for 20% off and free express shipping. That's all year round. And I think we've got an end of summer sale at the moment. When we release this will be the 17th. So the 18th, we're going to be live in a day. So save your pennies for that. Righto, boys. We've got a few options here. I've sent through, we're going to change the segment up this year. And I said, well, give me a few options. And I'm going to give you a couple random ones, boys. So let's go with Shades of Greatness for the first one. Okay. You have to share a moment that you believe was the most underrated in sports history and a play that deserves more attention. A play, a win, a game.
Wow. A play that deserves
Probably
more
a question I should give you before the podcast.
I'm trying to
Shades of Greatness, brought to you by RIXX Eyewear, coming to you all right here.
I got one.
Here we go. Dicko off
You
the
go
top.
first.
Yeah. Heath Shaw in the grand final in 2010, smothering Rewalt's.
Oh, that's great.
I actually sent that GIF yesterday.
That's incredible.
Do you know why I sent the GIF? Because
Why?
I had Tim Membry for 2 goals
yeah.
and it was my last leg of a multi and Toby Green tackled him while he played on in the goal square. And I go, it had shades of Nick Rewalt and Heath Shaw because he was in the box with us. And I got the GIF up and sent it to a few boys.
That's so
That
good.
is hilarious. There you go.
Yeah.
Don't worry, mate. When you're around Shorey, there's no underrating about that play. You hear it
Good.
1,000
He shouldn't.
times.
I'd
But it's
claim
one of
it
the
all
best
time.
plays, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think they brought it up in the box. I haven't heard, but someone texted me and said BT asked Nick Rewalt on the coverage, what was he thinking and what's that like, Nick? That's a great one.
Yeah.
And who'd you back for when you were
Collingwood.
Oh, so you're a Pies man.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, beautiful. We were with Dane Swan yesterday and he was getting swamped by all the
I
fans.
bet.
And we kept leaving him on his own. He's actually a man of the people. He got right around it, but it was
great.
good. What about you, Ryan?
I'm going to go with the double punt.
Oh,
Put you out there.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, the double punt.
Played
I
by-
feel like the media got around it, but it's still such a tough, like when you actually think about it, like when you put yourself in that position and you think about like, it's so different to either rugby league or AFL where there's multiple areas and people aren't just coming straight for you all the time. They're looking for the ball. And to be able to like go on your wrong side, do that in a split second, turn back inside and kick the snap and actually get a really good punt off. I feel like that's pretty impressive.
So
Thanks,
impressive.
mate.
Yeah. I think
Talk
it's up
us through
there.
that play, Dicko, because it was good for Aussie rules. I love it when they shout out Aussie. When you boys dominate, I think Sip did it once against the Giants.
Yeah.
He picked it up even though it was a flag, but you show your natural flair and, it's pretty cool for the game.
I'd always ask my coach, like, why don't guys just do this? Like, why don't guys just pick it up and kick it again? They would always be like, oh, yeah, all right. I was like, is it allowed? And they're like, oh, I don't know. So I was like, all right, if it happens, that's what I'm doing. If I can get it, that's what I'm doing. I'm obviously going to try and run for the first down first. But it's funny, like you catch the ball, sometimes it's like here and you can see what's happening in the rush. So I knew it was going to get blocked when I was punting it. So he blocks it. I'm just looking around midair. It's crazy how many thoughts go through your head in like sports. But just happened to be the first place I look, I see it spinning like this vertically on the ground. And as soon as I hit the ground, I run, scoop it up and was going to try and run for the first down, but turned back inside, snapped it, went 60 something yards. But yeah, the commentator's like, oh no, we don't know if that's allowed. But my foot, you know, like a quarterback, if they throw it and their back foot is still behind the line of scrimmage, even though the ball's here, it's allowed. It was the same thing. And they said that the back of my heel was on the line of scrimmage by like a couple millimeters. So it just ended up working out for me.
And that is so crucial for that play. You know,
Yeah,
they had to
I
call
loved
it back. It's like, come on, just let it play.
Yeah. It would have been like 70 yards, 80 yards field position.
Yeah. And that's
So-
great for your stats at the end of the year.
Oh, yeah.
You want to do that every time.
I just love knowing that their sideline would have been cheering and then just deflated. And like I had to do some signings and stuff. And the photo was me hitting the ball and just all their faces on the bench, just like,
Oh, that's so good.
and just signing over their faces. Like,
It was a great moment that though. I've seen that a few times and we'll clip that up because that's what was it like in the locker room that week? Did Pete get
yeah,
Pete would have been coaching then, obviously.
yeah. Pete, they loved it. Pete, my rookie year as well, I was meant to take a safety where you step out of the end zone because we were up a certain amount. I kind of run to the edge, see that it's open and run for the first down. Any other coach would have gone off. Pete was like, "Oh yeah, let's go. Like, that was awesome. That was incredible." So he loves that stuff. you know, he'll never hold someone back from trying. So yeah, no, he loved it. Media was crazy.
I've got to ask you, like, and this is, you know, we can cut this out if it's too rude for Pete, but obviously it goes down in history, the play call, and the beast mode was sitting there, you know, handed off. It gets talked about all the time, but are there any ever people that talk about it in the locker room, or do fans ever ask people about it at these signing days?
Well, like he addressed it to the team. He'd bring it up, and you know, he's like, I learn from it. I have to deal with that every day. Like he has regret. I don't actually know who made the call. I mean, he'll say that he did, but you don't know what happens and who gets in the mics. They all have the headsets on. You don't know who's saying what and who's influencing who. So he takes full blame for it, but he's had great success since. And it obviously, I feel like a moment like that can really make or break you, and people will either lose respect for you if you don't crush it after that. And he's still, you know, the Raiders wanted him. Brady, I'm sure, is making some of the decisions at the Raiders, and the Raiders wanted to pick him up. So, yeah, I want to see them crush it this year because I love Pete.
Yeah, well said. Well, he's definitely hasn't crushed him because he's been, you know, he's going pretty well since, and he's got success behind him. So he's always going to have that. So yeah, you're spot on actually, and it's a good lesson for players. You can kind of win and learn, but that one's a big learning, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
but they've had a lot of success in Seattle, so it's not like it's the be all end all. But it must be a cool place to play. I'm looking forward to getting to. As I said, I've never been to Seattle and Chicago and a few of these places where no one goes any harder than the fans in those two cities. So it'd be pretty cool. Plus the jerseys. I want to talk to you just randomly, but the all green. Do you love rocking that kit?
I love it. Yeah, it's so polarizing. People love it or hate it. I think
really?
It's cool.
It's like what's it? Coriander. Everyone loves or hates coriander.
Yeah.
You boys a coriander fan?
Not my favorite.
Really?
You get it. I got adjusted a little bit to it being in Texas. They put it on everything.
Like Mexican food. I feel like
Mexican food.
I allow it on Mexican food, but don't like it on Thai food.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Well, it kind of goes on all Thai food, really.
I don't
love it.
I like it with fresh onion.
Yeah.
Somehow.
So you boys
on
are kind of in the middle though. Like there's actually like Facebook
fine.
groups that you say that it's genuine hate.
Yeah, my dad like hates it, but I don't love it. Like I wouldn't voluntarily put it on, but I don't despise it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, don't mind it.
You don't mind it?
What do I hate? I hate anchovies.
Yeah, not my favorite.
It doesn't come up that much though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a pizza and they whack them on and they're just filthy. They're just hard to get off. Hey?
Do you eat pineapple on pizza?
No.
No?
Really?
Yeah.
I would never pick it, but like when it's there, I'm like, I'll try it. And then
I love pineapple as well. I mean, I can smash it if you want me to, but I'll just pull it aside.
Yeah, okay.
Or I'll just not order that pizza.
Hawaii.
While we're on it, pizza orders.
You got to go classic. I know Australia, once you move to the US and then you look at the pizzas here, you're like, it's not even
the same meal.
Like peri-peri chicken pizza here. And that's like really popular. It's delicious, but it's not really pizza. If you took that to an American who loves pizza, they would be
disgusted.
They'd be disgusted.
They have prawns on pizza. And,
but I would just say pepperoni. Like a good pepperoni or like a margarita pizza with good dough and good sauce. That's what wins.
Yeah. And I feel like it's hard to get here.
Yeah.
Like it's so hard to find a good, like big pizza. Pizza's a rip-off and they're tiny. Yeah. Like you can't get just a solid pepperoni that doesn't flop.
I'm thinking of our man from Barstool. What's his name?
Yeah, Dave Portnoy.
Yeah, he's got the old pizza. Yeah. He's reviews. I'd love him to come. Has he been to Australia? I might need him down here so we can find out which one's at the best.
Yeah, he'd be
mortified. I'm going to Toddy's tonight. You boys are busy, but I'm pretty sure they do nice pizzas. Yeah.
I've heard of it.
They're probably the best Italian restaurant in town. And they're in Lorne as well in Vic. They're dominating actually.
Really?
Yeah, great. Go there. I don't think you'd be complaining about Toddy's.
Okay.
Pretty probably sure I'd imagine they have pizzas.
But even like fast food pizzas in the US are still delicious. I don't know if you can.
But let's be honest, some of the food over there is horrific.
Yeah.
Mate,
it'll put you in.
There's some times where I'm like, what is this?
Yeah. It's hard to get. Australia kills it because there's a lot of like locally owned non-chain restaurants. The US, there's just too many chains. There's too many fast foods. There's not enough local spots
cafes
anywhere apart from Austin. Austin's cool. Seattle, there's not enough local spots. It's just everything's a chain.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like you can't just get that local cafe
Can't
vibe.
just, no local cafe, no
Like a
local charcoal
chicken.
chicken.
Yeah.
Like
Is that you go to down in the Shire?
charcoal chicken.
I'm not a shy boy, but maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I would,
No,
I would
love a
love
good-
to have a charcoal chicken. Just it's so healthy. You just get like a quarter of a chicken, some salad, and then go.
Portuguese
Imagine we did-
chicken.
Yeah, man. I was saying,
Portuguese chicken.
imagine we didn't have chicken. I'd be in all sorts. I reckon I have chicken nearly 3 times.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely twice a day.
Wow.
Lunch and dinner all the time. Not every day, but like it's the go-to.
I think beef's my go-to.
Yeah, I like beef. I used to be a chicken fan, and I mean, not that I'm not a fan, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
more of a steak.
Turkey,
That's
no.
the Texan though.
I can't go turkey.
Turkey's
Yeah,
great.
turkey.
I only have it
Really?
twice a year. Again, Christmas and maybe if someone does a big roast. Yeah, I reckon it goes down well. It's not
I
so
get it.
dry. Chicken, when you have a chicken breast,
Then why don't
sometimes
you
it's just
dry?
real dry.
Why don't
yeah.
you switch to turkey?
Go
Oh,
cold
I
turkey.
could. I could, yeah, I am a
Go
bit of a
cold
turkey.
turkey
I
on
could do that
Tuesday,
easily.
go.
Yeah, it's just hard to find.
Yeah.
True.
In South Yarra where I am, it's just there's that many options. You can
Yeah.
just go down the street and grab whatever.
Yeah.
Generally, just go Vietnamese chicken and rice, or
Oh, yum.
there's options everywhere.
Yeah.
But chicken's just the lightest, I reckon.
Yeah.
And if you get a steak, you want to go for the premium.
Yeah,
I'd rather
that's
go to
true.
a nice restaurant and get a steak
That's
than
true.
Mhm.
getting some, like a Havana. It's like a Havana. You know, the little thongs.
Yeah.
Having one of those little flip flops in your mouth, the old rump, just
Minute steak.
just tough as nails. What about Seattle this year, mate? What's the plans? What do you think you're going to do? I was pretty big on you boys last year, and you guys definitely, I thought, dominated compared to where everyone had you ranked. I had you winning the division as a roughie, and you
Yeah,
nearly
we
pulled
nearly
it
did.
off. I know you nearly pulled it off. So no quarterback, no DK, but if you look at teams in the past, they've sometimes really rallied and come out and surprised. I mean, you look at Minnesota last year, they didn't really have, there was a lot of people going, oh no, like no Kirk Cousins, and lost a couple other weapons, and next minute, bang, they've had one of the better seasons. So you must be pretty excited about what's happening. And I mean, division will be tough. You've got the Rams that are pretty strong. San Fran will be always strong, but yeah, you must be looking forward to another big season.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens. I can't speculate, but I mean, every year you go in thinking you're going to make the playoffs at the minimum. So you kind of sometimes need to be a little, at some point it gets delusional, like if you're on a bad team. But no, I never think I'm delusional when it comes to the Seahawks. I think we can go all the way. Like we got the guys. Our defense is insane. It just depends, like who we pick up and if they mesh well with the offensive coordinator. I don't really know too much about it. I kind of, once it's the off season, I kind of just dip out.
Yeah, it's probably best to be like that as well. Even as we do this, it's probably a shit question for me because a lot can change in like the next 2 weeks. As we know today, there's been a heap going on. What about favorite cities? And talk about what's the favorite city to play, visit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
opinions?
I'd say favorite city to play would be like Arizona, just because it's indoors at elevation, ball flies, Vegas, any dome team.
Yeah, extra meters on them punts.
Oh yeah, it's
No wind.
It's chill. It's just you enjoy the game.
Is it windy
You
in
can do whatever
Seattle?
you want. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's all in the way the stadium's built as well. So our stadium is closed one end, and then we have the Hawk's Nest at another end, which is just like this shape, and then 2 big openings. So wind will come in on certain angles, bounce off, and it's obviously raining in Seattle every other game. And so you'll look up at the rain to see what the wind's doing, and it's this. It's going both ways. So you'll hit a ball in the warm-ups, and you're like, I think that was into the wind, but nothing happened too much. And then you think you're punting with the wind, and the ball, you crush it, you hit a great ball, and it'll just go up and then hit the wind and then drop. And there's different heights of wind. It sounds crazy, but there's different like shelves of wind. So going in a dome, it's just, you
The
can
best.
just like, I don't have to think about wind. I can hit whatever ball I want. I can hit a banana right now. I can hit this kick right now. I can do whatever I want and purely just mess with the returner if I want to. So that's what I like.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
So you actually break down like I'm just thinking about, you'd have levels to the wind.
Yeah.
And you're like, just don't get it in level 3, for example, because level 4 and 2 is fine, but level 3, it'll just get sucked up.
Well, if you're going to, you can't, like it needs to be a tight spiral, or, ideally you'd want to hit it a little lower and drive it through that and then it might hit the shelf later. Or you're doing a going in kick and you're like, it doesn't feel too windy, but maybe there's a little bit of wind, and you hit it aiming for the 5 to 10, and then it hits wind and drops at like the 17. And you're like, well, that was terrible. Like that didn't do anything for the team. May as well hit a touchback. So there's that you always have to account for playing outside.
Yeah. What about traveling when you've gone over?
Yeah, SMU was probably a bit more adventurous because we played in Florida. That was fun. And then we played up in Boston for a few bowl games. We played the Sugar Bowl 2018, my freshman year, in the Superdome. And yeah, it's definitely like one less stress you need to worry about. And the Superdome's cool because it doesn't feel like a football stadium. It feels a bit more like theatrical. It feels like playing in kind of like a theater. Like the way it's laid out and the blacking at the top. That was a really cool experience. And being there for New Year's was awesome.
Yeah, that's nice.
But everywhere else was like Kansas or West Virginia. They're just like cool to see, but you wouldn't want to go back.
I don't know how some people
live out there. Yeah.
Like it always blows my mind seeing the cities that are in the US.
Yeah.
It's like below freezing, nothing out there.
Or just
I just don't know if I could live here.
They feel like Back to the Future. We played a game in East Carolina and you go there and you're like, oh, this is just like feels run down, kind of old. There's just a big Walmart. And then all of a sudden it's a college town. And you're like, I'm just visiting and like playing a game here and leaving. But you're like, people actually live here and grow up here and go to school here. And you're like, to think where I am in the world right now, when I used to be in Sydney, like that felt so big and home and like that felt like the be all end all. And now you picture yourself and you're just in this weird city in the middle of America, not the middle of America, but in a random town. It's pretty crazy.
Is that like the roguest? Like what's the roguest place in America, you reckon?
Like West Virginia is pretty, like playing in the stands, like playing in that stadium, the people in the stands would be like always talking shit, and you'd look up and see them and it's like some hillbilly
no shirt on singlet. No
I'm sure there's great people there as well, but the ones that are always talking shit are always just obviously drunk hillbillies. Like,
Highlight of their week.
Just watch the game. Like, what are you doing here?
Oh yeah, because you guys are always
like we're right next to them. Like, have nothing to do with the game. That's always like the most annoying thing. Going to a stadium and there's someone that's just like Dickson the whole game. You're like, mate, just watch it. Like stuff's happening. Like
so you
wasted your money to get this ticket.
Yeah. What's the worst? Who's got the worst fans?
New England. There was one guy that was like so annoying.
Pats.
And we ended up winning on a field goal, and I was so annoyed because I wanted us to win on a touchdown, so I could have like talked shit to him as we scored, but I needed to be out there for it. And I was like, do I run back over and find him? I was like, no, just enjoy the win.
Yeah, they can really get in your head though, can't they? Some of them. Sip said he hates the Giants. He reckons
it's just annoying. Like it doesn't mess with your playing. It's just like a pest.
Yeah.
It's just annoying. Like you're not going to mess with my punting. Like I forget about you when I'm out there. I forget about you when I'm warming up. It's just like something that's annoying.
It's irritating stuff. And you can't enjoy the game because you get to watch the game from the best seats in the house. Like, come on, mate, shut up. I'm trying to watch the boys run rounds.
Exactly.
What about your favourite memory, so far in the league?
Going to Germany was cool, even though we lost. That was cool.
Well, it's a good point. You bring that up. Like now that we've got a game in Australia, like how big is that for all us Aussies?
Sick.
But like, must be pretty cool to hear. And hopefully, I know it's Rams versus someone. I don't think they're going to bring, let's talk about it. I got a feeling that it won't be. I got mail it's Arizona, but anyway, we'll see how we go.
I thought they announced it.
Nah, it's definitely Rams, but they haven't announced the opponent. Because Philly's so far away. I just got a feeling they won't.
Seahawks. I wish we played here. It'd be so cool.
I know. That's pretty cool to see the league growing like that, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's it was massive in Germany. Like I was walking the streets in Germany and was getting recognized by German people, which is pretty crazy to think about. There was like 200,000 people, I reckon. Maybe that's an exaggeration. Maybe 100,000 people outside the stadium as we're driving in, just flooding into this stadium. We played at Bayern Munich Stadium, and it was packed, and played Brady, and Brady crushed us.
What's it like playing blokes like Brady? Do you get to shake his hand?
No, he's way taller than you would think.
Yeah, I've met him because he did that tour, and he's He's an absolute specimen, isn't he? Like, he's almost like a robot.
Rogers seemed like a good dude pre-game.
Yeah. Do you walk past the boys? Because you're out there, right?
Yeah, we're warming up right next to them. And most guys are really locked in, or like, I'm always trying not to. I'm like, hey, am I good here? Like, if not, just tell me. Like, I'm not trying to get in a fight or whatever.
Yeah, you don't want the Justin Tucker and Kelsey Mahomes scenario.
It's not that important. I'll go punt somewhere. It's not that important.
I'll go to the stands.
Yeah. But Rogers was cool, like messing around. Like, he seems like a good dude.
Yeah.
But Brady, I kind of just stayed out of his way. I didn't want to deal with him. I could imagine him being ready to tell you off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
what about who's the coolest person you've met?
Wow.
Because when you're playing NFL, you got to be shaking and baking with some big dogs. Or the biggest name.
Biggest name? Like in football?
No, in the world.
Oh, wow. I don't know, McConaughey maybe?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's such a Texas legend.
Yeah.
Does he? I mean, you'd have his number, wouldn't you?
No, I don't
I'm surprised you don't have his number. He loves the boys, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Well, the Undertaker.
The Undertaker. I think he lived in Australia at one point.
Did he?
McConaughey, yeah. So I remember talking to him. He was really cool.
It looks like he actually gets around everyone from Texas.
My freshman year when he talked to the team, I had no idea what he was talking about. Like he had some speech going, like it's got to be. I was like, what's he talking about?
Yeah.
But
green lights.
But no, he's one-on-one, and like since then, like I get it. I get how he talks and how he is, and want to read his book. Apparently, it's pretty good, filled with wisdom. So he's probably the biggest name.
I was kind of expecting that, to be honest, with both of you.
Yeah, that's probably for me too.
You mentioned The Undertaker. Have you met him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because he said, mate, he's the WWE. The WWE, I was a fan growing up, and I don't really have time to watch it now. But
who was your guy growing up?
I used to love Rey Mysterio.
Mysterio,
he's still going around, isn't he, right?
He's still out there.
And Batista. I used to try to Batista bombs in the pool. I'm pretty weak, but you can kind of do them in the pool. But
Did you play SmackDown versus Raw?
Yep. Used to watch all that as well. They played that. Used to love it, man. I reckon. I don't even like when everyone's like, "Is it fake or whatever?" I never really crossed my mind until
I was convinced as a kid it was real.
Yeah, I think UFC
like,
picked up.
Real.
Yeah, when UFC. When did you probably grow up as well? Like it was probably before I turned 15. I was still right into it, and then just like got to grow up a bit. But that was when it was like, I don't know if you like some of the stuff they used to do back in the day. Like I don't know if you watched what Vince McMahon was cooking up, but like he made them do some pretty like rogue stuff that's
like wouldn't be done today.
Nah, like it's a pretty. I'm not saying it's a woke world we live in, but politically everything needs to be correct these days, and you can't do anything. But if you go back and watch some of the stuff that we're doing. It's like you just imagine them doing it now, and they get cancelled. So it's I think that were the glory days.
Yeah, we used to smash SmackDown versus Raw.
Every
on
Christmas.
PS2. I'd be Undertaker, he'd be Batista.
Yeah,
just cage fights.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, all of it.
Table ladder chair.
That's it.
We started running it back last off season.
Oh, really?
Broke the PS2 back out and started playing that in Austin.
That and V8 Supercars.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I never played that
That
one.
was classic.
Used to smash it. I think
Yeah.
it was a 25-year reunion, or maybe the other day, 30-year reunion for the PS2, which makes me feel a bit old.
It's a classic.
Love that.
Oh,
Crash
mate.
Bandicoot. So many good games.
Yeah. Now the WWE. Who are your favourites?
I was Batista.
Yeah.
Undertaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was it like when you met him? We go back to the question.
I don't know if I met him. I don't think he was always around.
Just like really quiet.
Yeah.
Who else did we met? Mark Henry.
Mark Henry. There was like
Oh, he's a big boy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Ryan Holiday over Zoom. Like we'd have cool people that aren't big names, but like the guy that was the head, William McRaven, he was like the head of the Navy or the head of the government defense at the time. And it was cool to see him come and speak to us. But who else?
Trying
I
to
don't really think that's...
They bring in some no names just to give us a speech.
They're the worst.
Yeah. Jack you up a bit. It's like, come on, we want Randy Orton.
Yeah.
What about life after? Obviously, you're going to kick off with Buje. I can't wait to see that. What did you say? It's a month away?
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
cool.
see the lead times before we confirm samples, but hopefully in the next two to 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Can't wait. So you obviously be planted here for as long as you know. But what about you, Dicko? Now that you've, because you got an American missus.
Mm-hmm.
So is there chats around where you live obviously you're going to play for the next hopefully 10, 15 years. But when it does come to an end, have you got a plan on where you want to finish?
Yeah.
Your life?
Yeah, ideally we'd have a base in the US and Australia. I would we would like to be predominantly based in Australia to raise kids and stuff, but so hard to tell until you're in that position. But yeah, definitely a base in both, spend 50-50. She's a teacher, so even if it had to be like homeschool for a while, we would look into that.
And just where you grew up,
Yeah, so I've been looking at a couple places out here. We probably need to wait for next contract or a few years down the line before I buy something else out here.
Yeah, Bondi's gone through the roof.
Yeah, I don't think Bondi. I feel like I'd stay in the Shire.
Yeah,
I really want like a house that has activities where I can, basketball, hoop, tennis court, ideally, pool.
That's kind of what I didn't have that in mind, but my mates had that growing up, and that's kind of the perfect house, isn't it?
You want to be outside all day.
Yeah.
Just playing, essentially.
Yeah. No, that's the way you want it as well. Get them active. You want an active lifestyle.
Yeah.
What are you contracted to?
So I got this coming year is the last year of my contract.
Cool.
So last time I did my deal, I had 1 year left and signed an extension. So it could be this off season or it could be head into free agency next year.
Yeah. And your agent would be pretty busy right now.
We're kind of just seeing how it pans out. Like if they want to come to us, then we'll talk about it. But, if they're not wanting to do that, then I'm not going to be hitting them up going, hey, do it. It's not how it works. Yeah, they got other stuff. They got DK and Gino traded. So they've got a lot to worry about.
Yeah, there's a timing element to it all. Yeah. You just wait till you start well and then just go, come on, boys, let's extend for 5, guarantee.
That's it.
What kind of money they get now, the punters? Because it's all going up.
I don't think it hasn't gone up since my deal. So
what was the last deal? Obviously, it's all public knowledge.
The last deal, the highest deal is my deal, which is like 3.7, I think.
Yeah.
3.6. So we'll see. I don't know. I honestly don't, because I know the cap is going up, but like I don't know who's taking up that money.
Yeah.
I kind of just don't want to get involved because it sounds so stressful. I'm like, agent.
That's their job anyway.
You do that. You know what it's worth. You know the market. You know how to negotiate. Handle it.
100%. It'd be exciting as well. I mean, it's more guaranteed money these days, which is what players deserve. I mean, speaking to Todd Gurley, because we did a podcast with him and we didn't talk about the Rams too much because I kind of know because you can go on the internet, but they really they gave him a monster contract, but it wasn't all guaranteed. His big payday was his last year at the Rams and they cut him. So then he was that was his 26 mil, I think, contract was for a running back. I think it was more back-ended, but you see these contracts now, they're heavily skewed to guaranteed. I think Josh Allen just signed today as we're recording for 330 over 5 or 6, but I think it's 250 mil guaranteed.
Oh, wow.
So it's just crazy.
Mega.
Compared to back in the day, like a lot of the contracts were just not guaranteed.
It's all like based on position groups as well. So quarterbacks obviously going to get more guaranteed.
Miles Garrett just signed a monster, 40 year deal. He just broke the
40 mil a year, is it?
Yeah, I think he just broke the record today. If I get it up, but I've put a story up on the Aces. Got to try to share the big ones, but I'm pretty sure he just signed one of the largest deals. There you go, Browns extending.
Wow.
So it's 123 million, 4-year deal. So 40 mil a year for 4 years, but 123 of that guaranteed. I think it's one of the largest outside of quarterbacks in history. Yeah. So all skill groups are now start. It'd be a nightmare as a GM, wouldn't it? Like,
I don't know. I honestly don't know anything about it. I don't know how each year to year it changes, like dead money. I don't know how any of it works. It's just so much that I haven't even been bothered to look into it.
Yeah,
it's just a whole different world.
It's not worth your time.
No.
Just worry about lifting tin and kicking big balls. Speaking of lifting tin, what kind of what are you doing in the gym when you're training? Obviously, you're not playing anymore, but when you were because you're all pretty big boys, you must be throwing a bit of weight around.
Yeah, so I'll do my 3 days a week in season lower body. Monday up, we play Sunday. Monday will be lower, kind of your heavier squats, which sounds crazy, but that's the only That's the furthest away from the next game. So you do your squats and stuff. Thursday will be my next lift, and that'll be my next lower body lift. That'll be deadlift, kind of a bit more plyo, some box jumps, some like Kaiser squat stuff where it's a bit more explosive. And then Saturday, the day before, will be all really light plyos to just prime your central nervous system. And then the other days I kind of just hit bro splits, like bench, like chest and back and arms and shoulders, like that sort of stuff on the other days. But 3 days a week I'm primed for my full and lower.
And what about in the NFL? Is there anything that you're doing that we're not doing down here? Like, do you see or hear about things and, okay, that is miles off compared to where, because America feels like it's more advanced. You know, I see a soft tissue injury and you guys are back in a week. I can't believe it. Like, I know it's a different game. It's not AFL. It's not NRL. It's different, but you do have the best of the best and there's a lot of resources around. But is there anything that is like an easy one for you to go, yep, if I'm a civilian, Tommy, just on the street wanting to feel good, we're now doing this, have a look into this?
I know I kind of try and get the stuff that's not crazy expensive, that has a lot of good data behind it. So I've got like some red light therapy panels and stuff. Sauna. In Seattle, you need to get your circadian rhythm right, just because the sun rises really late and sets really early. So for a while, it was hard for me to get up. So I bought this therapy light, which is just as bright as a 10 a.m. sun. So it's like 10,000 lumen or whatever. You kind of sit in front of that for 10, 15 minutes. And then you go to sleep earlier. You wake up before your alarm. That's really good. Hydration, Buje hydration.
Get that in. That's good. We need that now. We need to drink that right here.
I know.
That's your first ad, mate. I just got to the e-commerce convention with obviously our great mate that's involved there. And that's what you need. You need the content. So we need to get us boys trying that Buje hydration for sure.
Should have brought a sample.
We would have been mixing it up.
And what's the packaging going to look like with the Buje?
So we're still finalizing it. It'll be in a regular like kind of box.
But it's been hard. It's been hard, right? Like to deal with a designer.
So the designers
have you had trouble with that?
Yeah, it's just so tricky. Like even that box, like our RIXX packaging, people love it, but we haven't changed that since the start. We've changed the color. We've made it more premium. I think the white looks better. Originally it was like a cream, but everything else we've kept. Like the case inside, if you open it up, Tico, have a look at the actual case.
The leather folding one? Yeah, I love that.
So it's flat now, right? So it can fit in mainly like in tight spots, but when you use it, it folds out into that little triangle. And we just found, we spent so much time on packaging at the start that it's no wonder that we've still got the same one, because we just thought that was the best case for Sunnies. Yeah, look at that. And that won't fit back in the box now. Like if you put that in the box and put this, it won't close over. You've got to flatten it out. Yeah. So packaging, mate, I'm talking the language with you because it took so much time.
Yeah, we need to talk more about that because...
sorry, I interrupted.
No, that's fine. Go.
I would fly. My eyes get really dry on the plane. So like team traveling, I'd always bring this, and then just this folds flat. So I just put it in the seat thing in front of me, and it's easy. It fits easy. Yeah. So I honestly love the packaging on these.
And it's crazy because like you get inspiration from so many different brands that have done it before, and you're like, I really like this, even if they're completely different industries. So you try and like show the designer and try and kind of convey what you like, but it's hard to see it without it, or try and say it without actually seeing it. So it's just like seeing a few designs. It's cool to see different perspectives and kind of just like getting your base design, putting it out there, and then adjusting as you go, which you can probably talk more
getting
about.
Feedback as well. Like everyone's got a different lifestyle on that, but I feel like, I mean, personally, like, you know, the Hydrolyte, like little capsule things, obviously they're dissolvable tablets. Yep. That's really handy, I think. But for the actual, sachets, I like this one that's like it's like a little circle, whatever, but the lid pops off, but then all the sachets are in there. Yep. And I just stick that on my microwave at home, grab two, bang, 600. You don't meant to have one with 300, but I just go two, smack it in the morning before I go for my walk. Bang. It's like you draw so much inspiration from other brands. And then I think with what you're doing, I'd want to make it fun. Yeah. Well, get the colors popping, get it out there.
That's right. And then giving it to the right people as well, like spreading the word. And I think I might know who you're talking about as well. Yeah. But getting even like when I was doing research and like, how can I actually make it a great product? Like what they actually have inside of them and the ratio and the amount of sodium that you think they can advertise it like, oh yeah, we have this and it's got salt and low sugar.
They just say we have magnesium, but then you look at the amount of magnesium and it's like, that doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
You're just saying it to check a box.
That could be an option. I don't know if you're looking into it, but I used to cramp a lot. So I'd always have magnesium just 2 days out of playing and I wouldn't have it any other time because it would give me that fix. It actually made me sleep really well.
Yeah.
But now that I'm not playing, you probably want it every night. So it's like you could even have like a sleep kind of bougie, sachet, and then you can have your hydration. Yeah, like I think that's.
But we have magnesium in the formula too. So we've got 60 milligrams of magnesium in there that helps with that recovery too, and for the muscle activation.
Well done, mate. Because it's when you get into the food space, it is very difficult. But if you nail it, like you said, how many things you have, it's like it says something on the front, but it's actually if you go to speak to a lawyer, it's like that's a grey area for saying that this and not saying that.
I think, but I really think that we're moving to a spot where you need to the brands that I buy anyway are just super upfront. You look at the label and there's 10 things. I feel like it's an old school. There was an era where they would just put all the thickeners, everything, all the preservatives, just dump whatever in there to make a little bit more of a profit. But people aren't going to that anymore. They don't really want that anymore.
Or trying to add too many ingredients where you want to make this one magical pill or product, but then the dosages aren't the right amount either. Like you can say, I put creatine, I put resveratrol, I put this and that. But then when you look at it, you're like, the effective dose is so low that you just put in all this stuff to make it look good. But you just want one thing that's really basic that you actually need that will actually make a difference, that everyone needs. And it's not some crazy drug like our body produces all the electrolytes that you just need replacing.
Yeah, it's well said.
Yeah.
It's like when we started RIXX, I literally remember talking about all this stuff. And I was like, I'm not doing it unless we've got the best stuff.
Yeah.
We've got the best Mazzucchelli acetate, German engineered hinges, all the lenses. Like, I go, if they aren't good, we're done.
Yeah.
Because you need quality. And it's exactly what you're talking about. You just need to have a quality product. To be honest, the packaging and all that, it doesn't really matter if you got the best product. I mean, I shouldn't say that. It does. Everything matters. But it starts with the product.
Of course.
And for yours, to be honest, will it make me feel hydrated? And does it taste unbelievable?
Yeah, that's right.
That'd
That's
be
a big
the
part of
two
it too.
biggest things you'd be focusing on when you start, I reckon.
Yeah, for sure. That's why we've had a few sample revisions already and they come back and you're like, but it's funny, people have different tastes. We got all different people around to do some sampling and people would love certain flavors and they'd be like, oh, I like it how it's sweet. And other people would be like, oh, I like it more acidic. But the good thing is it's not like a Prime or a Gatorade pre-made where it's like whatever you buy, that's what it is. You can adjust it based on your level. You can add water. You can add more to, if you like it a bit sweeter or saltier, you can add it to a smaller shot. You can add it to a bigger bottle in a Stanley Cup. Put your blocks of ice in there and off you go. So,
yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's
well
flexible.
done, mate. Well, looking forward to that. And me and Dicko will definitely send you a video trying it so you can pump it as an ad, mate. That's what the e-commerce world's all about these days.
I love it.
Lads, we've been here for a while. I just thank you so much for jumping on the Tommy Talks podcast. It's been hard to get, our crew in Sydney, but to our friends here that have helped provide this studio. It looks unbelievable. It's we'll be able to do more Sydney podcasts now for you, mate. So, but big shout out to Pro Podcast Productions. Without them in Sydney, we can't get this done, boys. So make sure you punt the lights out this year. Keep flying the flag, and send the product to Buje down Vic, mate. We'll get it out and get it amongst all the boys.
Definitely. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks, guys, and thanks to everyone that tunes in. We really appreciate your support. Hit that subscribe button, boys. Tell them to hit that subscribe button.
The bloody subscribe button.
Do it now.
And we'll see you next week on Tommy Talks. Cheers. Pacers, the team at RIXX have done it again, and they have something very cheeky for you all. It's end of season sale, and that means massive discounts. In fact, it's 50% off site-wide and an additional 5% if you use the discount code ACES at checkout. We're talking massive discounts. Free gifts with purchases and more. You just don't want to miss out. With our 90-day free returns and exchanges, you just can't go wrong. Get online now at rixeyewear.com.au. This sale won't last, so don't miss out.
Waits for it. Goal!
The bounce of the footy, roar of the crowd.
It hits different, just like the PointsBet app. Now with a faster design, AFL Bet Tracker to follow every disposal, each player's last 5 stats, plus video previews from AFL experts. This is betting made for true footy fans.
PointsBet, built different. You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.